Hello, I'm Todd Pressley, and welcome to an episode of Getting More Out of Your Tabletop Simulator. This is episode 1. We're going to talk about some of the tools that we're going to use to modify our tabletop simulator, to create things like new objects, to create maps, to modify those maps to use in Tabletop Simulator, to download objects and to take a look at how those objects are created, and to make some 3D models for our own use for our games. Hope you enjoy my episodes, and this will be the first one that we talk about the tools that we're going to use. Okay, first tool I want to show you is a tool called TTS Mod Backup, and here's where you can go get it. This is at Nexus Mods. If you do a Google search on TTS Mod Backup, this link will show up. Download, install this tool, and this will allow you to back up your tabletop simulator. Why this is important is that this is where all of the object files, all the 3D models for any of the workshop games that you may have downloaded and wanted to modify. It's a good place to start just to modify, let's say, the colors of uniforms and that sort of thing. In any case, going forward, let me put, I'm just going to back up one of my models here, show you how it works. So basically it says that I have 112 models in this file called ESR Figures. It's one of my kind of temporary models that I use when I'm building something for Tabletop Simulator. And then simply hit backup. It'll ask you where you want to put it. There's currently one that's already predefined. It's called backups. That's a great place to start. And if there's anything in here, go ahead and say replace existing or replace with newer, whatever you want to do. So I'll just replace the existing one. You can see about how long it takes for this to run, and that's about it. What's a really neat part of this tool is that you're able to back up all, and that backup all will basically take everything that's in your tabletop simulator and move it onto your desktop or onto your disk drive, and be able to save everything, basically a whole snapshot of everything that you have. I'll show you where it places it here. Let me get onto the mods. So we were just looking at where things go. It's in my libraries, documents, my games, Tabletop Simulator mods. That's where my models are all stored. You can see that it has images that it's stored, different things from different games. And then the models have these very long cryptic names that are based on where the model came from and then its unique ID. And all of these .obj files are all 3D objects. These 3D objects it's a format called wavefront, and we'll talk a little about how to generate a wavefront file, and then we'll load some of these in 3D models in just a minute here. So our next step here is, so we've saved all of our models. We've saved really a snapshot of what we have on Tabletop Simulator. So anything that you've brought in from the workshop, anything that you've got in your Tabletop Simulator is now on your desktop, but it has these very crazy names that you're going to have to go figure out. I'll show you a couple ways to get to that and figure out what those names are. That'll be some of my later starting with something and then modifying it. For now, I just want to show you some other tools. Some of the tool we'll be using is a tool called Blender, and as you see here, there's a cube here, and this is a modeling tool for creating 3D objects, for taking those 3D objects and rendering them with different things. I'll bring up one of the files that I've worked with lately. So here's a hussar. And we'll talk a lot about this in one of my upcoming videos here. This one, you can find Blender from blender.org. It's free software. You can download it onto your PC, allow you to configure the system, and it runs very well on different computers. I've never found a real limitation other than the hardware that I'm running on that really will get in your way. So Blender's another good tool. It'll allow you to create 3D objects, to manipulate those objects, I can show you what this looks like rendered here. So you can see here's the rendered object of that 3D model that I was just showing. So it's pretty neat stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit in a future video. And then the last tool that we're going to use is a tool called GIMP. GIMP is the GNU image manipulation program, and this is another free software that you can download, install on your computer. It has the capabilities like Photoshop, and we'll be using this to do a couple of different things. Let me show you here. I have one of my recent files. So that same lifeguard hussar, when he's all unrolled and what he looks like, here's what his image looks like in GNU, in the image manager, and this is basically the same thing as like Photoshop or other applications that you might use to just draw images, flat images, and then import this image into Blender, which then allows you to what they call wrap that 3D model. So let me show you where you can download GIMP. And once again, these are well known, well understood different packages on the internet. So if you do a Google search for GIMP, you will find this tool. If you do a Google search for Blender, you will find that tool. And as I mentioned before, tabletop TTS mod backup. If you do a search on Google, you will find that tool. GIMP is a great tool. The latest image is 210. I really like the latest mods for that. For the latest Blender mods, this new 2.83 mod or version is quite good as well. Tabletop Simulator, the mod backup releases a new version every time they come up with a new version of Tabletop Simulator. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to having you in my next episode.